What's the scariest thing going on in our world right now that not enough people know, talk about? The collapse of the insect population. Over the past 5 to 10 years, the insect population in our neighborhood has tanked. No more fireflies, no more bees, no more butterflies. And this year was the first year toads didn't come to our swimming pool and have their orgy. It's terrifying how quickly these changes have taken place. Not the scariest, but a lot of the people who helped clean up the BP oil spill from Horizon are suffering long-term medical issues. Their case has been essentially swept under the rug. Edit. Spelling. There's also the Taylor offshore oil spill in Louisiana that's been putting hundreds of barrels of crude every day into the ocean since 2004. They still don't know how to fix it. Let that sink in. An active oil spill that's been going on for 15 years and no one knows about it? The people that do don't know how to fix it. The volume will soon overtake Deepwater Horizon as the largest spill ever. Except without public knowledge and outcry, we can probably expect this not get fixed anytime soon. Edit. Originally I had said hundreds of gallons of crude were leaking per day. Current estimates are actually hundreds of barrels per day. Edit. Due to some of the comments I made until linking the WAPO article. Superbug STDs and other superbug infections. An incurable gonorrhea is now a thing. Damn Coachella. Damn, Coachella almost sounds like an STD name already. Go to Coachella, come back Burning Man. Edit. Thanks for the silver awards. And the gold. _zips_. Antibiotic resistance and the overprescribing of them, monsieur. I don't think this gets talked about nearly enough, and it's already a problem, monsieur. I remember reading an article recently that said in the future antibiotic-resistant bacteria-related deaths will surpass cancer deaths. Medical student here. I learned in class that by 2050, infectious diseases will surpass cancer as the second leading cause of death in the U.S. Also, 70% of all antibiotic use in the U.S. is in raising cattle. The problem is that pharmaceutical companies would rather produce a heart medication that you need to buy for the rest of your life than antibiotic that you'd take for a relatively short period of time. Edit. A drug you have to buy for the rest of your life means a lot more profit than an antibiotic that the average person buys from pharmacies maybe once or twice per illness. Edit. Somehow people read my comment and thought I'm just posting this to bash on farm companies. At the end of the day, farm companies are a business and the new drugs they produce are business decisions, not humanitarian ones. There's nothing wrong with that from a business perspective, and that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point is that us voting-aged adults need to start talking about government-led initiatives to produce new antibiotics in order to promote the future well-being of our communities. When Texas flooded during Hurricane Harvey, there were 13 Superfund sites that got hit. A Superfund site is an area where there are hazardous substances or pollutants on a huge scale. A bunch of chemicals got swept away into those flood waters and no one will know the effect for years. Edit. First gold and silver, thanks kind strangers. Don't forget that they just had a plant explosion in which tons of chemicals leaked into the water system, monsieur. They said only 3 frogs and 4 fish were affected by it. Recently there have been sharks, fish and other marine life washing up dead on shore in Galveston. I think the scariest thing is that everyone is talking about things that should terrify us, but we're all too apathetic to care. Not apathetic. Your emotional systems develop to operate in groups of humans of 50 to 100 members. We just don't have the ability to intuitively feel every form of danger, even if we know for a fact. A good example of this lack of intuition, for lack of a better term, is people are totally happy getting in their car every day and operate completely normally, yet when they fly, every bump can cause them to grip the seat handle, etc., because we just intuitively know we shouldn't be in the sky. We were never designed for that. But it really is a failure of biology because car accidents kill approximately 30,000 plus in the US alone every year, while something like 1 out of every million flights crashes or something like that. Driving is way more dangerous, yet no one cares, but that's not a conscious choice, it's just a failure of our intuitions. Edit Jesus, this got big. I would like to clarify, don't get bogged down in the semantics of the analogy, it's merely to highlight issue of our intuitions and how they can often fail to grasp the true nature of the situation. Also, someone popped my silver virginity. I will be thinking about said person as I touch myself tonight. Edit 2. Something that helps is not attributing malice to what can often be explained by ignorance, incompetence, and of course a failure of our biological systems. XD. The insects are dying, and by that the food chain is disrupted and we can say goodbye to a majority of other species. Yep, we're heading for a major extinction event, including many of our food crops. Thanks for all the anxiety, everyone. This thread basically says that we'll all be fucked by 2050. There's straight up, actual human slavery that is going on in parts of the world. We've just kind of been collectively uninformed, ignoring it, and it's really fucked. Edit. In most parts of the world, I'm actually learning a ton from reading the comments. Never realized how prominent trafficking was in US and Canada, right under our noses. It goes on in developed countries too, probably in all major cities. People are trafficked through Victoria Coach Station in London so much the police have operations with spotters. The sterilization crisis in the medical device industry and how it impacts our access to safe medical products. And on top of that, how major companies have been off-gassing toxic ethylene oxide gas that has been causing cancer in people who live next to factories for years and no one gave a shit. Greater than the sterilization crisis in the medical device industry. This is the first I've heard of it. Can you tell me more? My brother works in the hospital and he says that due to sterilization, bacteria are much more resistant and that we are at risk of not being able to properly sterilize anymore. Not sure if that is what OP is talking about. Edit. I have no idea how it exactly works. This is just what my brother told. I'm in economics, not medicine. I've definitely noticed a decline in the number of bees and monarch butterflies over the years. I used to see hundreds of both every spring. This year I haven't seen a monarch, and honeybees is less than 20. It's crazy to see such drastic changes in less than a decade. Thank you for my very first silver. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and continues working together to save the bees and the butterflies. I'm not sure if it's the scariest for the short term, but the death of reality. By that I mean how almost every person giving us information, news, blogs, etc., is fabricating or obscuring the truth for better profits. They understand anger keeps people interested in coming back, and go to disturbing lengths to push for those narratives. Trying to follow up news story most of the time is jumping from hyperlink to hyperlink between different news sites with no originating source to be found. I've seen a TED Talk where the speaker openly mocked any sort of critical discourse of his topic that went unnoticed or uncaring. I thought Vice was pretty good, but they also started being openly biased and made me question their authenticity. Unbiased journalism is dying, as far as I can see, and it's rarely discussed. Journalism today. Read an AP Reuters article on e.g. Saddam's weapons of mass destruction. Then write one article explaining how they are there, and one explaining how they aren't, while choosing different quotes from the same story to support each position. The amount of microplastics, medicine and unkillable pathogens in wastewater treatment. Due to the relatively low medicine concentrations, bacteria and viruses are building up resilience against the common antibacteria and antiviral medicine, which will eventually form a super pathogen that requires a totally new production method. Microplastics are very destructive to aquatic life and will do a lot of damage to the marine life. Water in general will be the new oil due to climate change. So that won't be fun either. Edit 1. Changed a spelling mistake. Edit 2. I am not an expert by any means, but I am a student in this field and I probably made some mistakes in my formulation and in some facts. Some experts have commented below, so do read those comments for a better, more accurate explanation. Last night I watched the documentary Dark Money on Amazon Prime. It focuses on Montana as a microcosm of how corporate interests are attempting to wind back the clock to the days when a company could control government. Basically, they look back at the company town mentality of 100 years ago in the model where wealthy business owners could buy an entire legislature and say, "That's awesome. Let's do that." Checks and balances, oversight, journalism, some form of structure that would stave off corrupt practices. They're working towards a paradigm where none of that is active, and democracy is as dead as last year's flowers. Right here in the land of the free, people in America are terrified of government overreach, but think that it's okay to give this kind of power to companies because if you don't like it, you don't have to use the product. They don't realize that the problem is powerful people in control of the masses. No matter if they call themselves kings, barons, or CEOs. Prion diseases like chronic wasting syndrome. Fun fact: prion diseases are basically the only known infectious disease that can survive autoclaving, i.e. prions can survive being blasted with boiling stay monsieur. Also they can survive indefinitely in hard vacuum monsieur, so not even the Gulf of space can save you from the monsieur. It's because a prion isn't alive in any sense of the word, even less so than a virus. I wouldn't even classify the disease as biological. A prion is a misfolded protein that causes your proteins, yes, the ones in your cells, to become misfolded upon contact. It is a disease on the molecular level as alive as, say, a shard of glass that you might accidentally step on. No cure, no sort of resistance other than steer clear. At my university there's a team of researchers who follow up on a family who ate a deer with CWD. I think it's been about 10 years now since they started studying them. But it's definitely scary. The continuous nope nothing yet. Edit. For those wondering, it is Binghamton University, and there are quite a few articles online about it. If CWD makes the jump to humans, we are so unbelievably fucked. It's basically like, what if we took germs, but made them impossible for people to develop an immunity to, and made them capable of surviving on surfaces for half a decade, and almost impossible to destroy, and 100% fatal. In the frozen ice of Antarctica there are really old bacteria, older than humans. If the ice melts, then those bacteria would release, and since nobody is resistant against the monsieur, who knows what's gonna happen? This is the most interesting comment here. Any links? Erosion of personal privacy. Right. With the internet, smartphones and social medias, there are so many problems because of this. The companies just spy on us blatantly. Everyone knows about this, but nothing is done. And because of smartphones and constant online presence, your job can also invade your personal privacy. My manager sometimes messages me at like 10 p.m. or even later for something work-related. Sure, I am not obligated to reply, but still, I hate seeing that when I'm supposed to be chilling at home far from work. China's social credit score system, the North Korea government, and dying bees. Plastic. It's everywhere. In our waste. In our food. In our bodies. In our drinking water. Obviously we know it's in the sea. Sure, grocery stores are slowly rolling out not using plastic bags, which is awesome, but it's scary how it's taken over everything in our lives. Even in money. We can't stop using it, yet it's building up waste everywhere, and it's causing issues in our bodies with all the microbits we have consumed. Scientists have had a hard time finding control groups to study because literally every person in animal they've tested has microplastics inside them. Monsieur, isn't there a slave trade in Libya that no one's talking about? There's a slave trade in about half the countries on Earth, but yeah, Libya is one of the worst. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.